Ketu in first house. The placement of Ketu in Ascendant would bestow the native with most of the Ketu impacts, which would be both pleasant and adverse, as they would bring both positive and negative effects to the native's life. Besides this, the presence of Ketu in first house is the most explicit expression of difficulties in life. The native having Ketu in first bhava would reach good heights in the professional arena and would attain good affluence, but he or she would require to work very hard and would need to put much endeavor, as there would be much impediments in the path throughout the life of the native. The native in first house would receive growth, but her life would lack the presence of peace, as he or she would be compelled to distress. These natives would confront much perspiration. The natives of Ketu in Ascendant are perceived to possess weaker composition of mind, besides which they would carry fragile personalities. These people would lead a tensed life, as they are prone to unreasonable stress due to variant reasons, besides which they would require to struggle for almost everything they would wish in their life. Apart from this, Ketu in first house would bring health problems to the spouses of the natives, and there will be some ups and downs in the conjugal path of the native, which would bring anguish to the person. Ketu in Sagittarius. Sagittarius tend to be good with management and leading. In fact, they are quite skillful. Sagittarius is a fire sign ruled by Jupiter, but its fire is not impulsive as of Aries, but controlled and warm. Ketu, on the other hand, is an airy planet. When placed in Sagittarius, it increases one's desire to achieve great heights. Such people are quite candid and open in their approach towards fulfillment of their desires. Jupiter and Ketu are both associated with spirituality. In this position, Ketu affords the native with good intuition. Such people become great spiritual leaders and earn a lot of name and fame in life. These natives give a lot of respect to elders and their community. They achieve success in life. They are quite intelligent. While Sagittarius is known to be a jubilant and carefree sign, Ketu here gives a serious temperament to the native. These people have a strong need for freedom and independence. They do not like to be told what to do and like to have their life in their control. Ketu in second house. The shadow planet Ketu is another most malefic planet in the astrological arena, besides which the placement of Ketu in second house would provide variant impacts depending upon the other planetary placements in the horoscope chart, as the benefic position of Ketu could take the native towards financial and professional heights, while the adverse placement could bring malefic effects of Ketu. The second house is ruled by Moon, who will also give results according to the placement of Ketu. The benefic placement of Ketu in second house would bestow the native with good affluence along with benefits of paternal affluence and property, but Moon will bring adverse impacts. He or she would be needed to travel a lot, and most of them would bring benefits to the native. Apart from this, the malefic placement of Ketu in second house would take the native towards wandering to places without any benefit from the same, besides which, the native would have a good income, but the expenditures will also be high and lavish. On the other hand, the placement of Sun in 12th bhava will make the native begin to work after 24 years at a good phase of life, besides which the exalted placement of Jupiter in the 2nd bhava along with Ketu would brings really high income to the native. Besides this, the placement of Moon or Mars in the 8th house would bring shorter lifespan to the native along with serious problems at the age of 16 or 17 octoseconds, while the empty 8th house would also bring malefic effects from Ketu. These people having Ketu in second house should follow some remedies to reduce the malefic impacts of Ketu, which comprises visiting temples and worshipping deities with true core and putting the tilak of turmeric and saffron over the head. He or she should stay away from adultery and should not get much involved in worldly pleasures. Ketu in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which shares a friendly relationship with Ketu. Here, Ketu is in an earth sign. Saturn is strongly associated with social service, and when Ketu is placed in its sign, it increases one's interest in social causes and work. Ketu tends to accept and boost what Saturn signifies since it is in a friendly sign. People born with this placement show a lot of interest in new things. Ketu also gives a lot of courage to the native. Such people excel and succeed in property-related matters. These people long for freedom in their life. There is a tendency to switch jobs frequently. These natives tend to get dissatisfied and bored from their workplace quickly. Ketu in Capricorn also makes the person fond of travels. These natives work hard in life and eventually get a good position. Growth is slow but sure. Such people are of a dutiful nature and are loyal friends too. Ketu in 3rd house. Though the shadow planet Ketu is perceived to be a malefic planet, the placement of Ketu in 3rd house will bring both pleasing and adverse impacts, while on the other part, 3rd house also gets affected by the planet Mercury and Mars, while the Ketu is a natural enemy to them. So on the impacts of this placement entirely depends upon the other planetary placements in the horoscope chart. If the placement of Ketu in 3rd house becomes benefic in the 3rd house, then the native would be blessed with good children and would be a generous and kind person from the core. He or she would be spiritual in her beliefs. Apart from this, the placement of Mars in the 12th power will affect the Ketu in 3rd house and will bring a son to the native before her 24 yoktoskons of age, who would become a reason for the good life, and that is for the long period of life of the native. The placement of Ketu here brings a profession including much traveling to the native, while the malefic placement of Ketu will make the native wander and travel useless and pointless. Besides this, the malefic placement of Ketu in 3rd house will bring some financial losses to the person, with some part lost in legal matters. The native could go apart from her spouse or sister-in-law/brother-in-law. Besides this, the native would receive troubles from her brother's side and will possess much distress and agony, as there would be much difficulties in her life path and lack of peace would prevail. In the end, the native should put tilok, mark of saffron, every day over his head. He or she should wear something of gold and should offer jaggery and rice in flowing water to the Almighty. These rituals will help the native win over the malefic effects of this placement to a good extent. Ketu in Aquarius. The ruling planet of Aquarius is also Saturn, and both are friendly to each other. Saturn is the significator of detachment from the materialism, and Ketu is also associated with spiritual liberation. People born with Ketu in Aquarius are quite learned and understand the reality of life. But despite this knowledge, they struggle to get rid of their desires. Ketu in Aquarius gives never-ending desires to the person. Saturn also relates to social service, and so does Aquarius. Ketu's placement further aggravates one's inclination towards benevolent tasks. Ketu is an airy planet, and when it is positioned in Aquarius, the native tends to make unrealistic plans and has unnecessary desires. This position of Ketu also makes the native prone to ear-related problems. These people get success in life but belatedly. They are quite strict and stubborn in nature. It is quite difficult to convince them to make a change against their wish. These people also inherit health issues from their family. Their relationship with friends and their own children does not flourish much. Instability in income is also possible for these natives. Ketu in Aquarius also boosts one's chances to travel abroad. Ketu in 4th house. The shadow planet Ketu is an enemy of the ruler moon of 4th house, but the planetary placements in the horoscope chart could make this placement positive or negative, for which it could provide variant impacts upon the human lives. The benefic placement of Ketu in 4th house would turn the native spiritual, as he or she would deeply believe in the divine presence and would keep walking over the righteous path. The native's displacement will appear to be lucky for the father and guru, besides which, the native would have son only by attaining the blessings of the guru. Besides this, The placement of Moon in 3rd or 4th bhava will also bring pleasing results to the native and will make him/her a good advisor, besides which the native would be endowed with a very strong financial stature. On the other hand, the malefic presence of Ketu in 4th house will bring health problems to the person, and her mother will also face some problems. Happiness and peace could be absent from the native's life due to variant hurdles and difficulties. The person having Ketu in 4th bhava would rarely have a son, and if he or she would have, then it will be in the 36 octosekuns of age. Diabetes could become a serious concern. In the end, the natives having Ketu in 4th house should keep a dog at home and should nurture him. The person should offer yellow flowers in the water and should wear silver for the peace of mind. These remedies would help him/her to a good extent for the betterment in life. Ketu in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign ruled by benevolent Jupiter. Pisces is a sign of intuition and imagination. And when mysterious Ketu is placed in it, the native has a tendency to get lost in the dream world. Ketu doesn't have a mind of its own since it is the dragon's tail. In Pisces, it makes the native irresolute and double-minded. This is, however, a good position concerning spiritual development. Such people tend to be quite meditative and spiritually inclined. This is also a good placement for religious and foreign travels. People with Ketu in Pisces tend to have a dreamy disposition. These people often suffer from problems related to eyes and ears. They are fond of traveling and are quite interested in religion and occult subjects. They have a strong desire to achieve respect and a good position in society. They are quite humble and helpful in nature. Disciplined and humane, these natives tend to respect their elders and beliefs. They are in fact quite knowledgeable too. Ketu in Pisces also affords the native with a lot of wealth.